Hey folks, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO, taking a little bit of time off from the renovation just to shoot this video real quick. You know that every video we do, man, we try to tell you guys what's going on. Going to be out of Plexus next week. 4 days, going to be a blast working with their people. And also our sponsor for this video, GoMajor.com. Look, if you're struggling, if fear, rejection, you don't want to pick up the telephone, you need to go to GoMajor.com. Check it out. Especially look at Millionaire in Training. It is a nuts and bolts, 18 DVDs and audios on overcoming that fear and learning how to be a great sales entrepreneur. It's powerful stuff. Go check it out. Hey, I want to introduce you to an attorney, Richard Sybert. This is my official response to a 5-page cease and desist, basically, a letter that he sent. No supporting documentation. That's why it's not as big as most of them that we get. But man, I tell you what, I'm impressed, seriously, with the attorney. Intellectual property, commercial litigation, international franchise law, antitrust, unfair competition, business transactions, international. He spent a boatload of time in Hong Kong. He worked for a U.S.-based toy company, a U.S.-owned toy company that was based out of Hong Kong. Phenomenal agent, speaks several different languages. But the letter that he wrote me, for a man who has such background, I believe it must have been written by an assistant. Somebody must have just thrown it to him and said, hey, can you handle this? Because there's so many inaccuracies. I mean, just statements that at least one other guy may see as deflammatory because they're putting him in the same room as me, like I'm his alter ego. It says, this law firm represents DubLi Inc. DubLi has been engaged to take action against you for your false and deflammatory conduct through your website MLM help desk, as well as in conjunction with or through or as, that's a tough one, Oz at BehindMLM. Let me stop for a minute. Everyone in the business knows that I am a giant ambassador, an advocate, a proponent for direct sales, network marketing, and MLM. Built my whole life this way. Oz, on the other hand, really doesn't seem to like network marketing, and he hates, as I do, this is where we have something in common, Ponzi's and pyramid schemes. And I have learned over the years to do one thing: pay attention when Oz writes something on his blog about a Ponzi or pyramid scheme. But probably 95% of the stuff that he writes, he would tell you we just disagree. 95%, maybe 100% of what I write, he disagrees with. So, Mr. Sybert, I got to clear it up. Your team needs to go back to work because there is no connection. Matter of fact, I've never collaborated with anybody on one of my posts or one of my videos that I've put up. Oh, wait a minute. One. That was a few years ago. Ted Knighton over at businessfromhome.org, we actually collaborated, and he started on April 1st in Europe a rumor, April Fool's Day, that said Vima bought Monavie. And then when it turned April 1st over here, I said Vima bought Monavie. We had a hoot with that. The CEOs had a hoot with it. It was great. One of our best fun times that we've had. That's the only person I've ever collaborated on a video. So we don't collaborate. I may or may not know who Oz is in real life. You can go check out Oz's Soapbox, another one of his blogs. He has interesting stuff to say over there. It isn't about malice with either one of us, though. I think I can speak for Oz on this. It's not about malice. It's about just putting out the facts. Now, his facts may be different than my facts. You know, that's one thing about facts. Unless you dig down, get that critical thinking, go through the process of elimination, sometimes facts on the surface aren't what the facts are underneath, and we all know that. So that's something you got to look at. That's one of the reasons we link to sources where we get information, and we've always had an open door policy. Mr. Sybert, this is what's confusing to me. For months, I have been working trying to get in contact with a face-to-face or a phone call with the executives of DubLi. I've gone through top reps, I've gone through vendors, I've gone through the CNO, and yet nobody contacted us for any of the concerns that we've had. Some Oz talks about, some that you post, but when it comes to malice, there is no malice. There is no making this up as we go. I'm on the streets. I deal with distributors day in and day out. I'm the one that received some of the phone calls that said, man, there's going to be a big Wall Street firm that's going to invest in the company, and you've got to be at this meeting, but you got to sign an NDA. Yeah, I was one of them, but I didn't go. I said, man, I'm not going to go build any type of business. And I caution them, be careful. Because if you start spreading this around and it doesn't happen, it can be seen as a stock manipulation, which, Mr. Sybert, as you mentioned, and as I wrote, that is a crime. And it concerns me when reps are allowed to just run rampant and there's no compliance. And my concerns, my only concerns with DubLi have been from a compliance issue. And the fact that they were letting people say what they wanted to say. They were putting it up. They were talking about checks and the incomes. If you think that out of the blue we just make this crap up, then you must be brand new to direct sales and you must not understand what happens. Because if you look at the cases that have been before the FTC and the SEC, most of them have to do with income claims and product claims. And that's what we didn't want to see happen to DubLi, at least me. But looking at this, the majority of this first article was about Oz. You know, I'm looking through where it starts talking about me. Oh, right here. Links over to me. It says, just how badly did DubLi bait and switch fail? Oh, no, right here. In late 2014, VP of the U.S. Destin Mitchell filed and received a restraining order against the founder of DubLi. Actually, I left out a word and he corrected me on that one. A rumor, and then the other one was in late 2014, the buzz on the street was that one of the large Wall Street firms was going to invest hundreds of millions in the company. A rumor I question, since such events have to be filed with the SEC and should never be part of a buzz campaign. And what else did I write? Oh, in April 2015, board of directors, except for the founder, resigned, leaving many speculating what happened. And here's the correction. There was no bait and switch. That wasn't me. That was Oz talking about the compensation plan. Destin Mitchell is a litigant who is actually a Vixis litigant who has never had a connection with DubLi. Now, here's what we have done. When we put that up, we actually filed, or we actually linked to the article that came up about Destin. We tried to look to see if there was anything else. There wasn't a court. We couldn't look up the case. But Mr. Sybert, here's what I will do for you. If you can show me where he's never worked for the company, where you guys counterfiled, where you won, where he was put in jail, whatever the case is, provide that documentation and we will gladly put it up showing the correction. We always do that. We don't have a problem with that. All you got to do is ask. There's never been any discussion or announcement from DubLi about a large Wall Street investment firm. You appeared to make that up. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Sybert. Let's read what I wrote. Matter of fact, let's just go to the blog post. Let's not use your letter for that one. I personally still have huge oh no, we went too far, didn't we? And in late 2014, the buzz on the street was that one of the large Wall Street firms was going to invest hundreds of millions into the company, a rumor that I question since such events have to be filed with the SEC and should never be part of a buzz campaign. I didn't say DubLi said, I didn't say DubLi made the announcement. I said the buzz on the street, or the word on the street, and it shouldn't be part of a buzz campaign. So there wasn't anything that I said. Now, for clarity, in October of 2014, at a Starbucks at the Mirage Hotel, I met with a financial advisor to corporate at DubLi, that's how he was introduced to me, by a consultant in the industry that was in DubLi at the time. And he said, Troy, I need you to sit here and talk to this gentleman so he can share with you what's going on. And you can share with him what your concerns are. And that's exactly what we did. And he said, you know what, I'm going to take this back to corporate. I also talked to a high-ranking vendor in the company. I've talked to Jerry Yerke. Matter of fact, Mr. Sybert, you talk about malice on my part. I want to share something with you. Lioness, a competitor of yours, happens to be a client of mine. Jerry Yerke worked for my client. Jerry resigned, was terminated, they separated, whatever the case is, from Lioness. Because he's a friend of mine, he calls me on the phone and says, Troy, do you know anybody out there hiring right now? I said, do you want to stay in the shopping space? You want to go in? He goes, I don't care. I said, well, right up the street from you is a company named Shopping Sherlock. They're a client of mine. Michael Weeder's a good friend of mine. Why don't you go talk to Michael? I said, also, I know that Visalis a while back was looking. Let me get Blake on the phone, see if he's still interested. If he is, let's see if we can get you in front of him. And he says, hey, what about DubLi? I said, you know what? I don't know anybody at corporate in DubLi, but I have some good friends that are with DubLi. They vendors. Let me get one of them on the phone. Maybe you guys can talk. Maybe you can open a door. And he opened the door Jerry met with Michael. Michael flew him to Dubai. And the next thing you know, he's now the new chief networking officer. And not only that, but now I guess from what we're seeing, there's some Lioness leaders that have joined DubLi because they liked Jerry. So no malice whatsoever. You know, matter of fact, I'm the one right now trying to keep lawsuits from happening because leaders that have left Lioness are now going back and poaching from Lioness for DubLi, and that can be called cross recruiting and can cause other problems out there. So we're trying to help, Mr. Sybert. You need to understand, if you'd have just picked up the telephone, we could have taken care of all this. The board did not resign. Thank you for correcting me on that. We now were let go because you didn't renew their time, and you got new people that were put in. That's fine. That's a semantics. That has nothing to do with malice either. The rest of this stuff we really didn't do. Our article was very short, very sweet, to the point. We linked back to all the documentation. Anybody that, even anything that we wrote. Thank you for correcting our spelling errors. I'll get that taken care of. But anything we wrote, we linked back to the source, Mr. Sybert. This wasn't something that I said, but these words I did say. I personally still have huge concerns and have yet been able to get an audience with the founder or the C-level executives to ask them some questions that I have on their business model, as well as what I see as a lack of compliance oversight on their representatives. My concern was a lack of compliance of their representatives. And since Jerry Yerke has gotten on board, that seems to have been taken care of because we've seen everything just go down. And we're not seeing any of the hype and the crap that's been taken on. So we're going to put the letter up for everybody to read. And Mr. Sybert, my attorney is Kevin Thompson of Thompson Burton. If you'd like to go through him and talk about this, that's great. If you just want to pick up the phone with me, you should be able to get my phone number without any problem, or call Kevin and his office can give it to you. We will be more than happy if you provide me with any documentation outside of this letter, because we're going to go ahead and put it up. But anything else that you would want to add, any documentation, any court records, anything like that, feel free. If you or your client would like to sit down for a live interview where we can discuss this one-on-one and make it go live, make it go viral, let all the websites out there have it so that you can correct all of the misgivings from any website, from BehindMLM, myself, anyone else, I would be more than happy to do that for you guys. That would not be an issue either. We can pick a time and place that's convenient for everybody. I live in Florida. The office is in Orlando. It would work out great. Or actually Fort Lauderdale, I guess, is where it's at. So again, this is our public response back to the letter. I'm sending a link to the attorneys. Our attorneys have already approved this to go out, or it wouldn't have gone live. Live life like it's an epic adventure. Stay dangerous, stay strong. And if you're in network marketing, act like it.